Okay, morning. I just wanted to go over a little bit of Tafresh Lamed Hey, just to, I don't think it was 100% clear. Um, the case of where you went ahead in the last part of it, you built a Chalal Tefach. The case is, to be clear, is that when you made the Gadish, then when you made it, you made a hollow section at the bottom of tefach, agabe tefach, of zayin tfachim. It's like a sort of a rectangle dug out at the bottom, so that even though that's not a shir sukkah, that's not shaykh to go underneath it, but you made it the schach on top, all the hay or whatever on top, into made for sale, and wouldn't be tasvin elomina osui. It's just we have to read it over. Fichachim also v'tchila k'shenotzen sham agadish chalal tefach v'eshach shiva l'shem sukkah. If you made a hollow down at the bottom, tefach al tefach by shiva by shiva, tefach high by, sorry, not tefach by tefach high by shiva al shiva. And then v'chatat ba'achar kaf v'shlimila. So afterwards you dug out to 10 tfachim high ksheira shari nasis chach shel letzel. Because then you made the top of the haystack for sale. If you again made this hollow, if it was a much larger, you made this hollow area of a tefach by 707. Then you dug the whole thing out, made a nice giant sukkah. Also, you can't machshir the whole gadish for this small area that you put originally. And if you had your chakak over here with your pile, and you dug on both sides out Dalet Amos, and you built it up, whatever it is, then Hashiva Psula, even the Shiva is puzzle. If you went ahead and because what's outside the that section you can't use, is not, that schach there is not schach wasn't made for sale. It was a haystack. So therefore, that's all. So then you have dalid al dalid. You'll have dalid almost this way, dalid almost that way, and then you won't even machshir the middle one, because one second, right? Because we don't say since tzchach is possible with dal amos on the side. So if it's less than dal amos, we'd say dofen akuma. So that would be okay. So if you go ahead and you have that small area and you put less, so then you'd say, well, the dofen of the gadish, the dugout part, that's going to be dofen. That's going to be dofen akuma, and it connects to the small kosher area, and then that's fine. But if it's more than dal amos, so the walls, the dugout part, the walls, there's no shaykhs to the middle part. So therefore this area doesn't have any walls. So even that's puzzle. Don't put up the schach before you put up the walls. If you went ahead and you made a little strip of tefach, like the case of Gadish, you made a tefach first. You put you hung down. You put a little tefach. But b'chote begadish, you're allowed to go ahead and put the schach there, b'chote begadish, because now you made the wall first, and then you have the schach, and that will be enough to make it rechitzas, and then the schach, even though the ardos were machshir, the bach and others, but Achopanim Mishabura says that most Achronim are noted to say that it is kosher if it is possible if you go ahead and you put the schach before the before the wall, before you put the walls. Orach Shulchan is also makel. So we had before, if you did that, so it's better to lift all the schach up. If you realize you didn't and everything like that, so then you can eat it and you won't make a bracha. Tafei Shlam and Vav, Sukkah Yeshana, right? It's always interesting to see, you come Hanukkah time, how many sukkahs are still up on the here in Eretz Yisrael on the, or even in the backyards in people's houses. I know Pesach time there was someone had a sukkah up to make a minyan, whatever. Sukkah Yeshana Hainish Shasa Kodem Shekansu Shlosh Yom Lifnei Achag. It was made more than 30 days before Sukkot. Kshera Uvad Shechadesh Badavar Ata Begufa L'Shem Chag. As long as you do something to mechadesh it for L'Shem the Chag, which is it's a chachila, it's a mitzvah to do that. But tefach al tefach sagi, even if you went ahead and you just did tefach al tefach of the schach, whatever, just did a little corner, that's fine. Imhu b'makom echad. In chiddush al play kula, if you want to do a chiddush, if you want to do a chiddush on the whole, like pick up the schach and the whole thing, saga feel koldahu, you just need to pick up one branch and you're fine. You must sell l'shem achag. If you made it l'shem sukkah is a feel mitchilas hashana ksheir below chiddush. Even if you made it from the beginning of the year, it's fine. However, Shabbat points out the case I said about the sukkah, which you leave it up from year to year. Once sukkah passes, you can't say that the mitzvah passes. So you have to v'chadesh it. Even if you built the sukkah a day after you have Simchas Torah, whatever, that will be fine. Because once sukkah passes, it's mevatel the mitzvah, and you have to restart. Then you have to do a new mitzvah. You can't just have kavanah for the rest of your life to keep a sukkah there. Beis yaitzer klicheres sheyesh lo shtei sukkos zulafim izu. You have a pottery maker who sets up two little huts. One sukkah is where he sells his wares, and one sukkah is where he makes it. And they sell it outside. The inside hut, the inside sukkah is not the sukkah, and that's where he works the whole year. So that's not called for sukkahs. The outside hut is fine because he doesn't. Again, dira here doesn't mean he sleeps there necessarily, but that's his workshop. So he's there all the time. But the outside one is just that's not where he is most of the time. He's just so a customer comes, he goes out there. So then that's nicker that it's for that if he stays in there, puts his bed in there and his table. So that's nicker that it's for the shem sukkahs. Tafresh Lamed Zayin in Sukkah She'ula Ugzula. There's some interesting cases over here. Mishal Asa Sukkah. Let's say someone didn't make a sukkah. He didn't have time, or he just didn't feel like it, or he didn't have a place to do it, or whatever the case is. On those, I remember my relative or whatever who they lived in a condominium complex, so they didn't allow them to build a sukkah on the premises. So at least the first night where they were high, if they went to people, and and other times whatever they did. But achupanim, so also sukkah b'chol shamoy. So we're going to get into sukkah she'ula and gzula. But first of all, someone who didn't make a sukkah because he didn't have time, or he just decided he didn't want to, and then he decided to make a sukkah. Also b'chol shamoy to feel b'sof yom hashvi. He's allowed to go ahead and build a sukkah on Chol Hamoed, even if it's Yom HaShvi, because you're allowed to build. There are those building a sukkah on Chol Hamoed. I think it was discussed in Hilchos Chol Hamoed that there is mutter davar oved. Even if you have another sukkah, it's still someone davar ava, you're allowed to build it. Yesh omrim, you shouldn't build them a ma'isa uman, but you should build them a ma'isa hedjo, meaning, most sukkahs are ma'isa hedjo. Sukkah is a ma'isa uman, and you do like a proper whatever. It's not so common. Most sukkahs you take some nails, nail it in, some screws, this whatever. Or you set up one of the prefabricated sukkahs or whatever it is. So that is the Chorah Ma'isa woman anyway. And that would be mutter. So too, obviously, if the sukkah falls down, which happens sometimes in a storm, whatever, it can fall down. It's also mutter to put it back up. You are allowed that you don't need a sukkah l'shivas yamim. And even though the sukkah's teishu shivas yamin, there's no din of how you need a sukkah. You need to have this sukkah lishma for shivas yamin. It just means you have to eat in the sukkah when you want to eat. When you eat a suda, you have to eat in the sukkah during these 7 days. It doesn't make a difference which sukkah you even the first day you eat here, it doesn't make a difference. No, even though it says. The lashon lecha, but we don't. But I also think it also says it also says the lashon lecha, but we don't darshan that because the pasuk says kol ezrach v'Yisrael yeshu b'sukkos. The pasuk says all the any ezrach v'Yisrael can sit b'sukkos. So therefore, we don't say it's all din lecha. Even though I think it does say the Zion. He quotes right. So it's not coming lafuke. It's not coming lafuke she'ula. It's coming lafuke gzula. We'll get to that in a minute. But since the pasuk is called ezrach. And it shows that everyone's allowed to sit in anyone's sukkah, so we're not the lecha is only memai gzula. If two people build a sukkah together, that's also fine, and there's no problem. Or if a building builds one big sukkah together, whatever it is, for sure that's fine. Gimel, sukkah gzula kshera. So sukkah gzula is kshera. We just said the pasuk says l'cha lamud gzula. So what are we talking about? If the sukkah gzula is kshera, we're talking. We'll see in a second. We're talking about a case of where you build a sukkah on a car, you built a sukkah on a boat, on the back of a pickup truck, or any whatever. Anything you have a Chabad mobile, whatever, with a sukkah in it. And then you come and steal the car, right? And then you want to go ahead and use that sukkah. Then you're not yotzei because that's a sukkah gzula. However, if ketzad, so one is a kshera, it's takav al chavero, v'otziu misukaso gazo yeshuv ba yatsa. Right, the guy sitting in the sukkah. You burst in and say that I need to be yotzei and it's a sukkah right now. Pick the guy up, shove him outside the sukkah, lock up the door, and enjoy your meal. That is kosher. She'ena karka nigzelis, because karka is not nigzelis. It's a general klal that we have in the Choshen Mishpat in the dinim of zanenim v'zelo chaser. Or that a person, if I go ahead, if I stay in someone's house without reshus, so it's a din of zenenim v'zelo chaser. If it's a hotel, you're gonna have to pay. But if it's someone's house, he'll usually rent out. So then it's considered zenenim v'zelo chaser. You don't have to pay. So the Ramah even says if you go ahead and you walk into a guy's house and you throw it out of the house and you lock it up. Now, obviously, you're not allowed to do that with chachila, but a person did that, so then he wouldn't have to pay because karka ain't nigzelis, and also the and there's dinner, you wouldn't have to pay. So to buy a sukkah, so karka ain't nigzelis. So even though you went into a sukkah, but you're not stealing the boards. You're just sitting on the ground where the sukkah is. So it will be kosher, but
it remains in the original owner's rishos.
Right.
You're just using it.
You're just using it. which is sukkah shula, even shosh midas, but still, it won't pass your mitzvah. However, the Taisus says and whatever, you can't make a bracha. Because it's most. You can't make a bracha with something which is done through an avera. But al kapanim you yoytze. Hagal miyul l'chachila v'yeshiv adam l'sukkos chaver shlomi daitai. Let's say you don't go ahead and throw the guy out, but let's say you need a sukkah. You see a guy's sukkah over there, and he's not around, and it's front yard or whatever, and you just go in and start eating. So that's l'char that would be okay, but l'chachila you shouldn't. Koshke and daita l'gazla, you want to go ahead and I'm taking the sukkah. V'chein lo yaseh sukkah v'chachila v'karka shel chaveru shelo b'daita. You shouldn't just build a sukkah on your friend's property without asking rishos. V'chein v'karka shehi shel rabim. Also, you should not build a sukkah on public property. Miyu b'di'evid yotza. However, b'di'evid you are yotze, even if because karka and exelis, you are yotze if you go ahead and you build it on someone else's property. Sharabim we'll talk about in a second. V'chein lo yikatzenu Yisrael haschach ba'atzvam. You shouldn't go to the public park and start cutting down the palm branches or things like that, trees. The chol gezel, and you should buy from a goy. Chol gezel eno yisvi menu sukkah l'chachila. Any gezel, you can't make a sukkah out of it l'chachila. So let's go over a few of these points over here. So first of all, they do say that there is a general din that like the person wants to borrow tefillin or the talis, things like that. It's nichale, but usually it's nichale v'adam l'mitzvah. So therefore, generally, okay, the Aruch Shulchan says over there that obviously the guy's like I want to borrow tefillin, but the guy's like he hasn't showered in 2 weeks or whatever. Borrow the talis, whatever it is. People can be makpid. You don't just assume that, oh no, it's okay. It sort of depends on the situation. If you know it's l'chachila, you shouldn't necessarily do it. If you know that there could be a kpeda. However, the issue here is l'chachila is because you burst into the sukkah. The guy's sitting there eating like with his family. Like, hey, what are you doing here? It's private. Guy climbs in. The guy has a sukkah. He climbs into the guy's balcony and then goes into his private sukkah. Who knows? It's also to do it. So if it's out in the front and it's in the yard somewhere, whatever. So then you're not going into the guy's private property. Even still, they're eating the suda. You walk in. It's not because we don't want you walking into someone's private space. However, if he's not, they do say if he's not there, he's not there. You saw they went away on a Cholamoy trip, and you need a sukkah, and you're not going to climb into his backyard, whatever. Then the would be fine, because the why not kamina nichale, whatever. The person, obviously wants something to do a mitzvah. Case of Shel Rabim, so Magen Avram says that even though it's b'diavad yatsa, but since l'chachila you shouldn't do it, and the Rabbim can't be meichel. You can't go ahead and say the Rabbim are meichel, even if you say, well, Rishus Rabbim, well, it's all here in Eretz Yisrael, they're all Jews are meichel, but Rabbim doesn't mean only people here. It means Rabbim means the whole world. Everyone in the world has the right to go ahead and use a public park. So therefore, unless you're dealing with apartheid or something, or I don't know, whatever, not here, but Achopanim, it used to be in South Africa or whatever, the exclusionary, whatever in the South, but Achopanim, Rishus Rabbi means that everyone can go ahead and use it. So therefore, the Goyim are Michael, so therefore, you shouldn't make a bracha. If
a store owner extends his restaurant into the street, and he puts a sukkah there.
Right, so that's...
Right? So, I didn't steal it. I didn't do that. Can I make a bracha if I
Right, so that's the thing. According to the Magen Avram, you wouldn't make a bracha. However, the Chabura, many Achronim are cholik on the Magen Avram, Because first of all, there are many Achronim places will say that the spot right just outside your house or just outside the restaurant, whatever, it's sort of understood that people are makbid if you build a sukkah there, unless of course the sukkah they build, you block the whole sidewalk. Build a huge sukkah, you block the sidewalk. That's already, there's a different din. If someone goes ahead and blocks their harabim, let's say someone goes ahead and Nagid parks their car on the sidewalk, people can't get by, and whatever, and let's say a person tries getting by and with a stroller and he scratches the car, he's potter because this guy had overshifts to park there. Really, if technically you get a bunch of big guys together and they pick up the car and move it, so put it whatever. So Achopani, you're not allowed to. So a sukkah, who was in a sukkah? Even though yes, b'diavad, it's kosher. Or let's say the Mishabur Birlacha brings says that the Shulchan, you see they say they're makbid, but you see the fact that they don't come and tear the sukkah down by 7 days means they're moichel. But still, if you're blocking, if you do it in a way that you're blocking, or the chasar shutfim in an apartment building, you block a whole. You do it in a place where people are makbid. So then clearly makbid. So then you wouldn't be allowed to make a bracha in that case. Even b'diavad your say. With a sukkah, which is let's say built blocking the sidewalk, it could be even technically you'd be allowed to knock it down if it blocks the whole sidewalk because you can't block their harabim. But if it's in a part of it, it's not l'chara. There's enough to rely on that. Of course, you could sit there and you can eat. And Pashas is not people they're not makbid. You could probably you could make a bracha unless you're choshish for the Magen Avram. Right, and then this is again another interesting point. The concept of Yisrael, also you shouldn't cut it from public property unless there's a din. Unless we said Rabbi Art Moichel. However, unless there's a din of din of the Malchus Adina, that the law says that you can go ahead and you can cut. And then you're allowed to take tree branches and things from public property. It's okay. Then that would be okay. Just as a agav interesting point, this is not getting into politics, but just for Yediv Ba'alma, since there is machlokes where there's din in the Malchus Adina in Eretz Yisrael, meaning pirush, whether you have to whether. It's a machlokes of Rishonim, whether it's nogea to taxes and things, not to, for example, a person holds the Dina Chulsadina doesn't mean he can drive on the wrong side of the road or anything like that. It's a machlokes Rishonim. I'm not getting into the machlokes. It's machlokes Rishonim, which was nogea even to the time of Achav and v'chulei. But from here, it's Yotzei Chumrah, even though let's say it's a person's samach on that. With only Malchus Beis David, whatever, only they have a din of a melech and other people don't. But it comes out a chumrah. It comes out a chumrah over here that even if since the rabbim aren't moichel, if you hold that it's no din of Malchus Adina here, you wouldn't be allowed to cut, even though let's say the law is, I can go ahead and cut from the park or whatever. You wouldn't be allowed to cut from the park because you hold there's no din of mechusa here, so the Mshala can't be moichel it, and therefore you go back to the din of Rishus Rabin. You wouldn't be allowed to go ahead and cut branches and things or whatever. So it was an interesting cheshbon. I was thinking this through that by regular in America it's fine. Here there's a machlokes, so it's something to think about.
You might believe that there's no din of the Malchus Adina at the national level, but there is at the municipal level.
It's unclear about that. Again, it's a sugya. It's a sugya. Not getting into politics. Nothing with politics. Whoever thinks it's done with politics has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with halacha. Again, safety laws and laws for order and things, whatever. That's not where the machlokes is. The machlokes is more about is in the Choshen Mishpat about whether where it applies even in America. And so it's a very, very specific discussion about paying certain types of taxes and things or whatever. But it's not about But I'm saying that if you hold bikaron, there's no din of the malchus. You go like the sheet holds there's no din of the malchus, so you would come up with a chumrah in this case. But whatever, that will save to get the Choshen Mishpat, the actual details. I will stop here. in the middle.
Okay.
You want I
In the
can.
middle, in the middle.
Yeah, it's not in the middle. Yeah.
It's got it.